Today I saw another article about the generation identity in Austria in my favorite newspaper ZEIT. They claim that the movement were in a downward spiral because the Conservative Party FPÖ would distance itself from the grassroots people. Now, I have seen little of this. There is one politician, Hans-Christian Strache, who had supposedly blocked Martin Sellner on Twitter, but that is not really the end of the world. I see rather a lot of solidarity with the generation identity because of the obscene allegations with regards to the donation of the Christchurch shooter that went into the account of Martin Sellner more than a year prior to the attack. The media and the political opponents claim that this donation were evidence of sorts that the movement were in some way or another involved in the terrorism, which is ludicrous and is probably false. I have not followed the story in detail, and I believe Brittany Pettibone can give much better information and in a much better style than I could ever. But I wanted to use this opportunity to speak about who the generation identity actually is and what the legitimate concern about them could be. And that is that at least the core of them, some members had been members of neo-Nazi groups. Many years ago, Martin Sellner was arrested for scribbling a swastika on a shul. He had apologized, he had been open about his, he had since changed his mind, and so I assume I have the rest of them. There is a very basic problem with forgiveness in the left-wing culture, or at least when it comes to their political opponents, because when you are an Islamist, there is, you can basically decapitate somebody and you are still forgiven. Or even if you are just a child rapist or if you are a murderer, they just speak about re-education and bringing somebody back into society. But strange enough, if you have left the neo-Nazi movement to do something completely else, you are not allowed to be taken seriously anymore. I mean, they are completely redeemed when they join left-wing parties, make no mistake. Even the Social Democrats used to take not just neo-Nazis, but actual Nazis. So they had real Nazis in their ranks, and they did not bother at all. But now, when neo-Nazis, and not really just neo-Nazis, changed their minds and become conservatives, that's the big issue. Then there is no forgiveness whatsoever, outside of their problem that they are completely dishonest and that they are just forgiving selectively those that follow their ideology, truly implementing the idea of re-education as the communists always do. They completely have lost the concept of forgiveness, and I believe that a lot of the left is basically the breakdown product of Christianity after its decline. The main holiday in Christianity and also the main holiday in Judaism is Easter in Christianity and Yom Kippur in Judaism. And both holidays have in common that they at their very core are about repentance and about forgiveness. The left does not know repentance and forgiveness, or at least they just know it for strategical reasons, while Christians and Jews believe in a universal forgiveness for everybody who behaves, who sticks to basic rules again and is beneficial to society. The left just approves or uses the feeling of guilt to adapt them to a very specific mindset. So you can only be forgiven in the left-wing religion if you agree with them 100%, and if you do not agree with them 100%, they cannot forgive you, and you are branded for all your evils for the rest of your life. And this has another implication. I don't wait for a saint anymore. I wondered long ago, why is it that even a saint does not break through the power structure and does not change really anything? And the reason is that it does not matter anymore. The left and also other people who are corrupt, that's the main issue. Those that are corrupt will use everything against you, and if you have no issue whatsoever, they will just pretend that something that is actually okay is a violation of some standards that you have never heard before. So there is no way in hell that you can wait for a saint to make a case for you politically. You have to stick with people who had a past, and you have to forgive people for what they have done. Also, there is this claim from the left that those who had supported stupid ideas in the past still hold these ideas and are all Oscar-worthy actors that are smart enough to fool you. Now, after hours and hours and hours of constant talking from Martin Sellner and others from this movement, I strongly doubt that there is any actor who is capable of disguising some neo-Nazism when there were some. You cannot talk about your basic worldview for hours on end and not mention Jews or anything that is suspicious. If you have a certain ideology and it is at your core and you want to communicate it, you cannot just strategically adapt. Actors who receive the Oscar because they are convincing only speak lines, and they practice certain lines again and again and again for hours and hours and hours in a day, so they can produce a film. When suspicious or poor acting was already cut out in previous scenes, when that is left on the film is convincing, receives awards because it's so difficult. I doubt that you can just talk hours and hours and hours on end about your basic worldview that matters to you most and that you are prepared to give up everything for, and not mention what others claim you are going to hide. This is ridiculous. If they have left neo-Nazism and don't talk about conspiracy theories and not about Jews and so on, they have left it behind. And Yom Kippur is the day when we forgive ultimately, and there have been a couple of Yom Kippur since the generation identity came into being. And Easter means that the Christians forgive, and there had been a number of Easterns as well, and soon another one is coming. Our Judeo-Christian culture is big on forgiveness, and we must understand or reinvigorate that virtue again to be able to act politically. That was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.